If I knew what awaited me on that Mediterranean cruise, I wouldn't have gone. I had never won anything in my life, so when I saw my name proudly displayed at our local mall, saying that I'd won first prize, I was beyond ecstatic. My name's Stan. I joined the raffle as sort of a joke. I knew I had awful luck, but when the girl at the counter told me I could use my receipt to join, I thought, sure, why not? So I forgot it for a few weeks until that day when I went to the mall with my friends and saw my name on a huge banner. I had won an all-expenses-paid cruise. If my buddies didn't shake me in their excitement, I wouldn't have realized I was in the real world.
Bruh, give me as many numbers as you can, alright? I'm sure as heck gonna want an Italian girlfriend. My mom's been telling me I should only date a girl with the same heritage.
You're from Michigan, Bruno. You hardly know 3 words in Italian.
So what? I can say eat, sleep, and put the kids to sleep in Italian. That should work, right?
You're an idiot. But anyway, bro, find me a nice Greek girl, alright? I want me a goddess.
And do you speak any Greek?
He shook his head. You're both idiots. Anyway, I won't go just to flirt with random girls. I want to go diving. I love being in the ocean. Unfortunately, living in a second-rate city that's been left behind by the times gave me no opportunities to visit the beach, much less to go diving. I just remember when I was a kid, my dad used to take us to Hawaii every summer. When I think about it, I feel like I'm back there. The salty breeze, the warmth of the sun, I could feel and smell it all. I will never forget the first time I saw that beautiful underwater world that was just bursting with life. It was like being in some alien planet where everything shimmered with 1,000 colors. Ever since then, I'd always dreamed of traveling and diving the world's seas. I studied marine biology. I thought I'd get to become a researcher, but I just ended up working at some rundown aquarium 2 blocks from where I lived. But now, I was finally going to get to travel. As soon as I got on the mega yacht, I was kind of disappointed. There were throngs of people all pushing and shoving to get to their rooms. I thought it was going to be a more relaxing experience. I was in a room with 3 other people who I didn't know. They were noisy when they were awake, and they snored like bears when they were asleep. When I first stopped in a southern port in Portugal, I realized the trip was neither going to be relaxing nor luxurious. I went to bask in the sun on the pool deck while reading a book on the Mediterranean coasts. Suddenly, hundreds of people began to crowd the pool. There were middle-aged men doing cannonballs, and it wasn't long before my book was soaked. I made a mental note to never go in there as I watched people stand shoulder to shoulder in that huge pool. Some kid got sick, and a lot of them just kept swimming. They were either oblivious or did not care. As I tried to squeeze through a group of sorority girls who were too busy taking selfies to let anyone pass, I bumped into someone. "Watch where you're going." I'm sorry, I didn't see you there." When I saw her face, I couldn't help but stutter. She was tall. She towered over me like the most beautiful statue, and her face looked like it belonged to a goddess. However, she wasn't as impressed by me. "Get out of my way, little man. Some of us need to work around here." She pushed me aside and I almost fell into the pool, but none of that mattered to me. I just wanted to hear her talk for hours, even if it was just to insult me. The next day I received a package from home as we neared the coast of Cartagena. I'd forgotten it was even my birthday. How they managed to send that box to me while the ship was in the Mediterranean Sea, I don't know. All I know is that it was the best birthday gift ever. My friends and family chipped in and sent me scuba gear, and I was so excited to try them out, I signed up for diving lessons. I was the only one who signed up, but when I saw who the instructor was, I felt both nervous and excited. "Ah, it's you, the American who bumps into people without apologizing." I did say sorry." "Enough chatter. My name is Eve, and I will be your diving instructor. Now, we teach you to swim without drowning." Every other day on the trip, Eve and I would hop on a small boat. A guide would take us out to a nearby coral reef, and she would teach me everything I needed to know. And I got to see the wonders of the deep again. Eve was rough and mean the first few days, but as we moved further and further into the Mediterranean, she started softening up. She laughed. She would make jokes. And she even took me out dancing when we docked up on the island of Ibiza. From Ibiza, we hopped on over to Barcelona, then Saint-Tropez. From there, the ship cruised to the Amalfi Coast. And as our travel grew longer, Eve and I became closer. And as the waters grew warmer, so did our feelings for each other. But as we passed Malta and headed for the Greek Isles, trouble struck. "Who is this?" Eve let go of my hand and pushed me away. "No one. He's just a student. Teaching him to dive." "Are you also teaching him how to read palms? Why are you holding his hands?" It was nothing. I swear, Captain." "Captain? That's future husband to you, Eve. And to you, whoever you are." "Captain, he's a guest on this boat." "A guest who isn't important enough. I bet he stays in one of the bunk rooms. Only VIPs deserve the captain's respect. Get away from my girl, son, or you'll get thrown overboard before you know it." The captain gave me a warning look and disappeared. Eve told me everything. She told me how the captain had basically rescued her family, and because she felt indebted to him, she said yes when he asked her to marry him. But as she got to know him, she realized how awful he was. She tried to break up with him many times, but he would tell her he would fire her. He would remind her how much money her family owed him. I wanted to help her, I truly did, but I was poor too, and I couldn't just stuff her in my luggage and escape. It was when we docked into Mykonos that I heard something that made my ears prick up. It was this fisherman, and he was telling a story of a long-lost treasure, a boat full of jewels and golden jugs and jewelry and coins that had sunk one stormy night on its way to Troy from Mycenae. The tourists were entranced by the tale, and I too leaned in to listen closely. Everyone thought it was just a fairy tale, but I felt like it was an adventure I needed to take. I talked to the fisherman and learned that he actually believed in the tale, and that he knew where the shipwreck was. Only the whole town thought he was nuts. But I followed my gut and told Eve. She laughed me off, but I told her if it was true, that it would solve all her problems, and if it wasn't, it would still be a beautiful dive. The fisherman took us out on the water, and we were in there for half an hour, but there was no sign of a shipwreck. We were about to call it a day when suddenly the weather changed, and the fisherman's boat got buffeted by strong winds and massive waves. Eve and I swam as hard as we could, but we only got further and further from the boat, and then we were pulled under by a fierce current. Eve and I held each other and we wouldn't let go, until I felt myself slam into a wall. I was out for a bit, but I felt someone slap me awake. "Oh, good, you're awake." I felt warm and dry, and I could hear her talk, so I wondered if we'd drifted ashore. Instead, I found myself in the most wondrous cabin underwater. It was like being in a cathedral in the middle of the ocean, and then as I looked closer, I realized we were under a wooden ship that was upside down. "I think we found it, Stan. The shipwreck. The current carried us here, and I tried to swim up carrying you when you fainted, but a force sucked me in and under the ship, and brought us here, in this miraculous air bubble under the ship." "How can you be sure this is the same shipwreck?" "Look around." And when I did, I saw the mounds of gold, jugs and jewelry and coins. There was a statue of Achilles as tall as 3 men, and rings that could make any rapper jealous. Eve and I were stuck in there for 48 hours, or at least that's what the rescuers told us when they eventually found us. They floated us up, and we brought a chest of our findings with us. The rest we left to donate to the Greek government and their museums. We were both given honorary archaeology degrees by a Greek university. When he saw me standing over my massive chest of gold, Giorgio, the captain, didn't look down on me anymore. In fact, he was so nice he bumped me up to a VIP suite. But no bribe was going to prevent me from doing what he was afraid I'd do. I told every news channel that interviewed me how the captain of the cruise ship treated me, and I made sure his employers knew. He was fired as soon as we got back to our final port, and I took Eve with me. As payment for the debt Giorgio kept hanging over Eve's head, I tossed the guy a gold coin. That should be worth way more than what Eve owes you. Now you can at least book yourself a flight home. "And here's your stupid engagement ring. I have a much nicer one." She held up her hand and showed the ring that I used to propose to her. It was thousands of years old, and the glistening hunk of ruby in the middle shimmered in the sun. Eve and I traveled the world. We got to use our new passion for archaeology and the degrees we received. We became modern-day Indiana Jones and Lara Croft, and together we would discover many hidden treasures around the planet.